With goats, with the current land that I have, I can actually have over 50,000 goats and I'll still be able to feed them perfectly.
Because they don't eat much as cattle.
Exactly, right? So a goat eats about 4% of his body weight. So goats in Ghana hasn't been commercialized yet. They have always been domesticated where everybody, so we have about 8.2 million goats in Ghana, right? And on average, a farmer owns about maybe 4, 5, highest maybe 10 goats. That means that there are about over 600,000 farmers in Ghana, small. And the reason why we haven't been able to scale it because we think goats are stubborn. We think that goats cannot be confined.
But they are stubborn.
They are not stubborn if you look at what is happening here. There's nothing stubborn about them. So what we are trying to do at this farm is to research and plan and study and come up with models in livestock farming that you can come here, see what we've done, pick it up and take it to your farm and make sure that you succeed. My name is Fred and I'm a livestock farmer, basically, and an agric influencer on all of us, the social media platform. You know, my journey started from cattle farming, went into poultry farming, and now doing goat farming, both on a research center and sort of on a commercial level as well.
What's the vision for this?
Okay, so at the moment we are at Semanhyia L&D farm, and the vision for this farm is basically a learning and a development center. So everything here, and the reason why we say we haven't started is we are still experimenting. So at this moment we are focusing on goats and creating a model that is replicable. So goats in Ghana hasn't been commercialized yet. They have always been domesticated where everybody, so we have about 8.2 million goats in Ghana, right? And on average, a farmer owns about maybe 4, 5, highest maybe 10 goats. That means that there are about over 600,000 farmers in Ghana, small. And the reason why we haven't been able to scale it because we think goats are stubborn. We think that goats cannot be confined.
But they are stubborn.
They are not stubborn if you look at what is happening here. There's nothing stubborn about them. So what we are trying to do at this farm is to research and plan and study and come up with models in livestock farming that you can come here, see what we've done, pick it up and take it to your farm and make sure that you succeed. So now we are focusing on goats. From goats, we're going to go into piggery, we're going to go into cattle, we're going to do poultry again, and basically collect data, collect experience, collect knowledge that we can share to all of you watching us that actually want to go into livestock farming. So that's the purpose of this farm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to be here.
Okay.
So, you were having cattle.
Yes.
Tell me more about it.
Yeah, so I started with cattle because just like most of you that want to go into farming, you know, I think the first thing is like you want to have cattle, sell them to the market, whether it being for meat, mostly for meat in Ghana, right? So that's why I also started. I started cattle farm to actually feed my school, which I'm sure you've seen it as well, right? And then I realized that, okay, with all my education and exposure, if I want to do cattle farming, I don't want to have them roaming around and, you know, destroying people's things and causing conflicts and so on. So I decided to confine them. So that's when I started introducing the Semanhyia grass and like roaming around, finding the nutrition that they need to be able to be confined. Because once you confine them, you sort of limit their access to grazing and what they can find. So you have to provide all that nutrition for them. So that's when I started processing. But along the way, I realized that I grew my herd to about 250 cows. But I realized that, you know, for me to scale to 1,000, 2,000, that would be worth my time. I would need a huge amount of land. So I had about, I still have it, about 130 acres, but it was still not enough with the feeding lots that I was doing. So I couldn't see the long-term vision in scaling, especially considering how difficult it is to get a land in Ghana.
Yeah.
For me to buy 100 acres, you have to talk to multiple families for them to agree to buy and so on and so forth. And that's why I realized that, okay, if there's no future for me in cattle farming, then I need to change the strategy. And that's why I moved into goats, because with goats, with the current land that I have, I can actually have over 50,000 goats and I'll still be able to feed them perfectly.
Because they don't eat much as cattle.
Exactly, right? So a goat eats about 4% of its body weight. An average weight of a local West African dwarf is about 12% at the farm here. An average weight of these Kalahari and Savannah goats is about 65, right? So if you're giving them 4% of their body weight, that is very small. We process about 1,600 kg of feed every month, and that is something I can do with the size of land and feed source that I have.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks for educating us on the cattle and everything, the experience and everything that you gathered. What of the poultry?
Yeah, so poultry also was another great lesson for me. So I went into poultry in 2020, and again, it was more of a research. So I started with about 10,000. People might
research?
yes.
Wow.
So with the poultry, I basically wanted to test all the birds that are out there. So I bought birds from Cote d'Ivoire, I bought birds from Semanhyia Farms, there was another one in Kumasi, I bought from Holland, I bought from Belgium, I bought from Fuani Farms, and I was basically trying to see which one has low mortality rate, is more productive, is more resistant, and so on, before I actually decide which one to go into it. And I might say, like, poultry farmers are the most protective people when it comes to sharing information. We have a lot of people, especially in Doma, who have succeeded in poultry farming, but they are very hesitant in sharing with other farmers.
What's the reason for that?
I guess it's just a mentality of if you know, then you come and compete with me. But in Ghana alone, we consume about 264,000 tons of chicken. We produce only 64,000. So if you have this data, what is basically your competition?
Yeah.
But people don't, and therefore they think, as I teach you and you succeed, then it's that small mentality mindset, right?
That's true.
Exactly.
That's
And to me, that's why I even started a YouTube channel, to be able to educate people and share this kind of data. So the poultry was supposed to be a research center where I test all these animals from different sources, find out which one works for us, and then go into it fully. I started this in 2020, where a bag of maize was 150 cedis.
Okay.
So I did that. I used that to do all my projection, reared these animals for 2 years. And in 2020, when I was selling these guys, a bag of maize was 500 cedis. At the moment, a bag of maize is like 750 cedis. So it doesn't make sense. The prices of eggs have not moved more than even 50%, but the cost of production have moved more than 500%. So if you're doing it as a business and you're following your numbers, then it's just stupid for a businessman to continue doing something that he's losing money on.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it as a passion or as a hobby at your backyard just to feed yourself, then maybe it's worth it. So that's why I decided, okay, I'm not gonna go into poultry. Somebody will say, why don't you grow your own feed? Great. As I said, I have about 130 acres, so I was planting corn. But till you have all the implements to mechanize the entire farm, you're going to run into troubles. Because with 130 acres corn, to be able to get people to spray, to harvest, to plant, you will need maybe, in a day, maybe 50 people. When you need those people in the rainy season or at the harvesting season, they are also harvesting their small farm. So you don't even have access to them. So you end up your production.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And therefore you don't benefit. So I had all the machines, but I realized I didn't have a combine harvester. I didn't have a few things, and when it goes to that stage where I have to use manual, it becomes a problem. Okay. So I was like, okay, I'm not growing the corn. The feed is so expensive, and therefore I had to pause.
Let me take you back to the cattle.
Okay.
Did you feed it all to your school, or you sold some?
Oh, no. So my school was actually consuming 1 meal every term. So if we kill 1 meal, it could last us for about 4 months. So we weren't consuming enough. I actually sold my cows, but the great thing is I sold all my cows in 2 days.
Okay.
So about 70 cows, people came here. The moment I told people I was selling my cows, everybody wanted them. because, and that's the advice I want to give to your people watching you. Anything you do, to do the right thing, quality, right? People knew my cow. Even in this community, they will call it the white people's cow, because they said, oh, they all have earrings. Hey, this one, you brought them. They were clean. Right? They weren't dirty. They are not confined in a place where they sleep in their poop and urine. Right? So everybody knew it. So any serious farmer who was into cattle farming knew that he needed to buy my cow to go and breed. So when I said I was selling it, everybody came for it. I had bloggers in UK, in US who would come and say, 10, my guy is coming for them. They haven't even seen it. And they will just come and pick it, right? So the beginning can be hard, but if you create the standard and you do it well, you know, you have the customers. So yeah, that's how I got rid of all of them. The branding was, you know, it was on point.
I know you love to keep records.
Yeah.
I know it was for experiments and something like that.
Yeah.
Did you try calculating, or maybe I've made profit of this or something like that?
Yeah.
About selling the cattle?
To be honest with you, I haven't done that yet. I do have the records. I know how much I sold my cows, but I haven't sat down yet to say this is how much I was spending. But I'll give you an idea, right? So most of you know the calculation. A cattle give birth once a year. You know, to us it takes us about 1 year. We get that cattle to about maybe 170 kg, and that was the goal. So the feeding is on point. We planted our own feed, so we weren't buying food, right? We weren't going around picking cassava peels and so on. They were grazing directly, and we supplemented. Medication is the only thing, but you know cows also don't get sick that frequently. Yeah, once you vaccinate them right and deworm them, they are healthy. You know, then I had two staff taking care of the cows, so yeah, so the expenditure is very low. I think if you can control your mortality rate, right, of your calves and heifers, then you're good to go. So it's very profitable if you want to go into it, but you need to have your source of feed. That cuts down the cost. When you're able to prevent them from going out, it saves you a lot of headache, snake bites, people stealing them, infections, all these things, right? So I don't have the numbers for you yet, but I would say from my experience, it's profitable. The only reason why I stopped cattle farming is because I like to do big things. And I knew that I couldn't do cow at the scale that I wanted. Yeah.
Let's talk about the goats, then we talk about brachyria. That's the reason why I'm here.
Okay.
Because my people, that's the headache.
Yeah.
Feed.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the goats. What's the vision for goats? You are saying you want to keep like the number?
I mean, I can go as much as I want. Like, there's no limit. There's no limit for me now at this point. Yeah.
Okay, so take us to the goats and the plan for that.
Okay, so as I said, so now currently we are standing in the Semanhyia L&D farm. So this is a research center where we are researching. What are we doing? So we're doing something basically. We're experimenting with the goat genetics. If you're watching me, then you know the size of a West African dwarf. It's like that, right? Yeah. That West African dwarf is sold at $50, around $50, which is maybe 700, 800 cedis in Accra, right? If you go to the north or to the villages, you might get it at 500 cedis. That same goat, right? You're gonna use human resource to take care of them. You're gonna build a pen for them, and you're probably gonna provide them food, whether they are roaming or you're giving them the food. So you need this 3 resources and medication. So you need this 4. That same goat lying down or eating there, right, weighs on average about 65 kg. That goat is sold in South Africa $900. If you get a good looking one, depending on their status, $1,000. So the same resources, human resource, structure, infrastructure, feed, and health, medication, is the same thing you're going to give to this goat that you're going to give to your local dwarf. But you see the price difference. Huge. So if I'm going to do local dwarfs, when am I going to sell $50? So my question to myself is, how do I add value to the local dwarf so that I can move them from $50 to even $200, $300. And the only way I can do that is by adding weight to them, right? So how do we change the genetics of our local dwarfs? And there's a lot of things that have happened, which is inbreeding, and that have kept us where we are. So what we're doing is really trying to revolutionize how goat farming is done in Ghana and in West Africa as well. So that is the goal for it. So at this stage, we are still experimenting. We are testing nutrition. As you mentioned, the Semanhyia grass, you can feed that alone. So we are preparing our own feed, make sure that our nutrition is on point. Because for the past maybe 4 months, none of these goats have stepped a foot outside.
Okay.
We've been feeding all of them here. Once you confine them like that, what means is that they miss all their nutrition. So you have to provide all the nutrition they need to be able to grow, give you the best you need and so on. And that's what we are also working on. So health, nutrition, management, and identification. So basically that's what we're experimenting with the goats now. Once we have that right, now we go into the tens and thousands of scaling into a commercial farm. So at the moment, we are not yet a commercial farm. We are researching and then building on that to establish the commercial farm.
Take us through, why should I buy Semanhyia grass?
Yeah. So, number one, if you want to do livestock farming, I think my first rule, which is the aggressive one, is don't prosper at the downfall of others, right? In business, we are all in to succeed. Your poor old farmer, or your mom, your uncle has gone planted his maize farm, and you're doing goat farming, you're doing cattle farming, but then you go to his farm, destroy his farm so that your animals can grow. That's the downfall of another farmer, to succeed another farmer.
Yeah, that's true.
Africa cannot grow like that. We can't be stepping on other people to grow. We all have to grow together. Yeah. Because you go and buy cabbage, you go and buy maize to make your banku and so on, right? So I hate that about livestock farming. The fact that livestock farming is nomadic and is basically causing conflict to the point of losing lives and losing communities. The solution to that is keep your animals inside. Two problems with that. You need to find feed and you need to find water. Water is easy.
Yeah.
Anybody can draw. But how do you get feed? And that's the two problem. If anybody solve this two problem, because health, if they are out there, you still provide health. But water and feed is the reason why your animal will leave your farm and go outside and cause you all this problem, right? So that's number one reason. So that's why the feed component is key. So with Semanhyia grass, basically you're able to plant it. And once you plant it, it will last for about 15 years. And all what you have to do is either allow your goats or cows to graze directly on it. Once they grade a certain portion, you move them to a different portion. In about 4 weeks, it grows back again, right? And then you move them there. Or if you're a new farmer, before you even start, cut it, store it till you have enough. Then introduce your animal. Just like we're doing, then you're feeding the dry hay rather to them instead of them grazing. By so doing, you're able to get enough out of the small plots that you have or the small acres that you have, right? And then the second most important thing is, if you want to scale, unless you are really like a Fulani who is used to roaming, right? But if I want to scale in livestock farming, there's no way I can have 1,000 cows in this community. Yeah, no. Where are they going to go? What are they going to eat? So for scalability reasons, we need to be able to confine them. And in order to do that, then you solve problem number 2, feed and water, right? So if you're really serious and you want to do livestock farming at a large scale commercially to worth your time, then you need source of feed. It doesn't have to be the Semanhyia grass alone. It can be any grass. But to me, the reason why I've brought the Semanhyia grass is because of its nutrients and the fact that it's drought resistant, right? So as we are going to the drying season, a lot of the grass is going to dry. A lot of animals are going to go slimmer and you're forced to sell them. Yeah, but if you have this grass, then that problem is solved, right? So you just need to find your animal feed that works for you. But the Semanhyia grass is what I use. It's what I've bought into it for the past 4 years now. That is all what I've been on. Right, so thank you for coming. I know it's a long way,
Yeah,
so
but
I'm
we
glad.
have to do it.
We'll do
We
it.
have to
Next
do
time
it.
you're ready, let me know.
Inshallah,
And then we'll do
inshallah.
it. Yeah.
Subscribe.
Please go ahead and subscribe. He's another gentleman that's dedicated, traveling, investing a lot of his time.
Yeah.
So please, Mohammed frafraTV, go ahead and go and subscribe. It doesn't take anything away from me. You see, and number you listen to me, you listen to him. I've learned something from you, right? I watched a video you interviewed a guy in Takrady who had the Sahelian goats.
Yeah.
When I was doing my research, I watched from you. So we all learn from each other. Doesn't matter, small numbers are irrelevant, right? It's about what we are producing. So go ahead and do justice, and thank you so much all for watching us.
Okay.